Hello everybody, welcome to another live stream. My name is Steve. This is our Mac84 channel. Thank you for joining us today. I know today is July 4th, it's Independence Day. If those of you are in the US, if any of you are in the US, you're probably off and you're celebrating or you're just relaxing at home. So thank you for joining me if you're hanging out, so thanks. So today is going to be pretty relaxed. We're probably only going to be here for about an hour. I'm setting a strict time limit because I got things to do after, so I can't stay around for too much longer. I'm doing well, guys. How are you guys? We got a bunch of people in the chat already. Oh my goodness. We have Callum, we have Nolan, we have Adam, we have Joris, we have Tom Computing, we have Alvin. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's show. So what we're going to be doing is unboxing some things and taking a look at some other things we have on my desk, like this little lovely Blueberry iBook here, which is a nice little machine. So we're going to get right into it. First, I just want to make an announcement. Tomorrow morning, so that is July 5th, around 9 a.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to be on the Retro MacCast podcast. And so I'm going to put a link in the video chat here because it's very exciting. They have this on YouTube, just like we do our MacGack podcasts. In about 16, 17 hours, I'll be on the Retro MacCast. And they're a long-running podcast. They've been doing stuff audio-wise since like 2006. So these guys are awesome. I've listened to them a lot. Hello, Class of Mac. Thanks for joining. And so I put the link in the chat right there. So if you want to click on that, set a reminder or subscribe to them. And I'll be on there for about an hour is how long their shows run. And I'll be on there tomorrow morning. So it might be a bit early for you waking up, but make sure you subscribe to them. You can always catch the replay. So that's always nice. Thing about these types of things, you can always time shift depending on where you live in the world, or if you just like to sleep in. I can't sleep in, I have to do the show. But you can sleep in. So that's what I'll be doing tomorrow morning. So I hope you would join me there if you catch me later on after the show. They're really great guys, and I always enjoy watching them and listening to them. So I hope you enjoy me being there. So hopefully we'll have some fun. So next is unboxing some stuff. So today I have quite a bit of boxes, not a lot of stuff, just a few things. And yeah, so we have some things to unbox. I also have this iBook that I dug out, and I want to show you something about this iBook. And it's in decent shape. The physical condition isn't perfect. But what I want to show you is something cool here. So I booted this up. This is one of the iBooks I got. I think last summer. I got them locally for about $30 or $40 or something. Yes, RMC is great. Hey, Brian, thanks for joining. Yeah, I've been listening to them for a long time, and it'll be really fun to be on the show. So this iBook is interesting, not really spec-wise or anything. It's just your standard iBook, but the operating system it's running. So let me take the camera off the tripod here briefly, and just give you an idea of the version of the macOS it's running. Yeah. Your eyes do not deceive you. That is the first version, or the first, public version of macOS 10. That is 10.0.4. So it's pretty early on. And this iBook isn't too bad. It actually has 288 megabytes of memory here. It's a very early version of OS 10. Let's open the applications folder here. And it's pretty sluggish. This hard drive is seen some better days. Is System Profiler even in here? Yes. No, it is not. System Profiler has not even been ported. Oh, here it is. Apple System Profiler. My mistake. Yeah, it's a pretty early version of OS 10. And yeah, let's just wait for this to boot up here. This startup here. This hard drive is getting up there. So 300 megahertz machine. Let's see how much memory has been divided in here. We have 32 megabytes built in, and then a 256 stick installed under the keyboard here. So a whopping 288 of megabytes of memory. That's not too bad for this machine. But I just wanted to show this off to you guys. When I did my video recently on the macOS 10 sound effects on Big Sur, I was doing my own research of which sounds are on which systems, and it always helps to have some systems on the old versions. So I went to here, I went to the sounds control panel, and sorry, the camera's a little tilted. My hand is the tripod here. And I just played around with some of these sounds here. This speaker isn't the best. You know, it's a mono speaker, but you know, it's a speaker. It works. It's probably a little bit sad because it hasn't been used in a while, but yeah. Oh, hey there. Yes, I did see you on Ken's premiere the other day. Thank you for watching this stream. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Ken's show was a lot of fun. Basically, he had me on to discuss WWDC. Let me just put the camera back on here. Oh, the joys of doing a live stream. Yeah, that's my lousy plastic camera. Okay, so yeah, I was on. Ken from the Computer Clan had a WWDC Q&A discussion type thing, and he invited me on, which is great. I love Ken's shows. I love being on there. I've been on his vintage computer vault, his Apple Vintage Computer Vault series a few times. Always had a blast on that, so that was always fun. Hey, Raw Elements, got 11 of you guys here. I guess not one for barbecues or. That's all right. So yeah, so I just want to show you that iBook. I'm just gonna close it here to give us some more space. Unfortunately, it is missing the logo and everything, but I have another one that's in a little better shape. But I wanted to show you that because of the OS. Tom Computing says he is liking the iOS 14 beta. That's nice. I don't have a spare device to put that on. Otherwise, I might play around with it. But I'm just waiting until it gets released, and I'll probably update it after like one of the minor updates, because I never run the first version of whatever Apple releases, whether it's the Mac OS or the iOS. I've always had bad luck like installing like the gold master release, because whatever I happen to need to do, there's something broken with it. So. Oh well, thank you. I appreciate you sacrificing a good night's sleep to watch some of my streams. I do appreciate that. That's very, very kind of you. Yeah, no, it doesn't always work out for everybody all over the world, so my apologies depending on your time zone. I do tend to stream at different hours because I am trying actually to make sure that at least once in a while somebody else new will be able to grab one of my streams. So I do make an effort. Unfortunately, I don't really schedule these things yet. So maybe when I start scheduling them, you could, sleep through lunch or something like that to help you out. Okay, so we're going to start unboxing some of this stuff here. Nothing too crazy here, but just some stuff that I got that I think is pretty cool, so I'd like to share. We'll start with the one over here. This is kind of boring, but it's in a box, so I might as well unbox the thing. This is a very weird-looking device. I'm going to preface this by saying this is a very weird-looking device. And it has a purpose. You can probably hear the fireworks going off in the background. It's, what, 4:30 p.m.? It's still light out? There's fireworks going off. Anyway, this is a very strange looking device, but it has a very single purpose. And so, see if you guys can guess what this thing is. It goes with something else I got recently, which I haven't shown on camera, but I've talked about on Twitter. What is this monstrosity, you may ask? I'll give you a few seconds to guess. Be polite. This is a very interesting looking device. It's metal. Hey Trina, welcome to the chat. Yeah, this is well, I'll tell you in a second. But yeah, I'll give you a hint here. A little thermometer came with it. Hey Trina, perfect guess. Yes, so this is a heater for my ultrasonic cleaner. So the ultrasonic cleaner is a little tank that fills up with water, and it gets hot, and you put this detergent in it, and these inducers shoot all these waves towards things and help things get clean and all that type of stuff. However, the heater takes like 2 or 3 hours to heat up. It's a very weak heater. And so to complement that, this was about like $30 or $40. And so this is designed to like heat up tubs of water and drinks, or I don't know. They make smaller ones that will go in your coffee or whatever, for tea and stuff like that. This is not designed for that. This is like a big one. This is not an industrial one. It's a cheapo thing that I had shipped in from overseas. It's grounded, so hopefully it's actually grounded, and hopefully this will make quick work of me heating up the 15 liter tank. It's about 3.5 gallons because it's not a full 15 liters. But yeah, the whole design of it is a bit silly looking, but it does what it does. And I love these translated like documentation pieces. Yeah, this is heat pipe must be in water and then heating. Okay. Please remove the plug and then test the water temperature with the hand. Perfect. Please be sure to use quality. It's hard to read this stuff. Be sure to use please good quality power socket. Okay. So yeah, that's going to be a fantastic little thing. Hopefully it works. It doesn't blow up or anything. Is anybody else buffering? I'm looking at all green signs on my end, so hopefully it's not me. Your soldering station takes 50 minutes to heat up. You know what? I had the same problem with an old soldering iron of mine. It just took forever. Thankfully, this new station I got, it's not by far the fanciest or the best or anything. It's like $40 or $50, and it heats up in like 3-4 minutes. It's really quick. Let's see. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, cool. So yeah, that's what that is. It's a weird thing. I do have a video on my ultrasonic cleaner that I am working on. It'll be a scripted video. I shot most of the footage for it. I teased a little bit of what a board looked like before I put it in. And a lot of people on Twitter liked that and wanted to see what it looked like after. So I'd be happy to share that video once that goes out. Have been taking some time to work on that stuff. So yours is not loading. Well, hopefully YouTube's not having any issues. I like this. Special precautions. The plug must be unplugged before touching the water. Always good to follow. Okay, that's the weird thing out of the way. Nope, you didn't miss much. I'm just blabbering here. We haven't been live for 15 minutes or so. But for those of you who did come in a little later, just a reminder, I will be on the Retro MacCast podcast in about 16 hours. So that's July in the morning, July 5th. No, can't even speak. July 5th, around 9 a.m. Eastern is when they start their video podcast. It's on YouTube. There's a link on my Twitter. Actually, there will be. But I think this is the link to, here's the link to their podcast now. So you could click the remind me button and all that stuff. If you want to follow me on there, that'd be cool. They do a good show. So excited to be a part of that. Okay, other things to unbox. So this one I already took open. Oh, yeah. I cannot speak today. I just cannot. This one I already opened, but I want to share with you what it is because I think it's really cool. So who has ever played this game, whether for the Macintosh or another system? This is a favorite of mine and something that I remember. At least it was the demo of. We might have had the full version, but it might in your time zone, Trina. This is a fun one. This is obviously for the Mac. It's a CD-ROM version. I think we had this growing up. On a CD-ROM version. I remember finding a disc of it years ago. And so this is a Star Wars game. I'm a big Star Wars nut. And so when I was a kid and I played this, it didn't run the best on our computer. I remember it lagging and we had a joystick and that didn't really... I just got frustrated. So I want to actually take a crack at this again. I've played it a few times on like the Sega CD and other things. And I've had a lot of fun with it. So what's cool about this is this has the original box, and I'm gonna pan the camera down a little bit so I can open this up and show you the goodies it comes with. So it comes with the Adventurer, which was basically like their catalog. And I have to see if somebody's been scanning these in because I'm tempted to just buy these and start scanning them in. Although that's like I need another project, like I need a hole in the head. But very cool stuff, like buy watches and hats and t-shirts and books and all this stuff that I would love to have today, but is long since gone. Once in a while you'll see some of this stuff on eBay, but just really cool stuff. I actually have this hat here right there, that Rebel Assault 2 hat. There was one on eBay not long ago. Retails for $15. I paid about $20 for it, so that was pretty good. But yeah, this is pretty neat. Is there a LucasArts, Lucasfilm company store type thing? Then we have the game. So here's the game. Now there are 2 revisions of this game. The first just came on a blank sleeve like this with just a sticker. That's all that is. It's just a sticker. This is just your run-of-the-mill just CD holder. I just put a sticker on it. The other ones are full color. So if you look on eBay, you'll see a few different ones. And here's the play disc there. So just a very simple disc right there. What's interesting is there is a patch for this that helps it run better on other systems. And sometimes you'll actually see people make that patch of the floppy disk and they'll include it in the box, which I think is pretty neat. Then we have a manual. So this is just a black and white gameplay manual. Let's see. It's about 12 pages, not including the cover. Some neat vector, well not vector, I guess like 3D model-ish type stuff. I always love that type of stuff. Tells you how to use your mouse or your joystick. I have a Mac joystick. I'll have to play around with this to get the full experience. I think the discs do look the same. I think it's just the outer jacket of the disc case, Trina, because I remember, unfortunately, we found our original disc and it was cracked, but it looked like this. So I have reason to believe most of the discs probably look the same or from the same printing. And what's really neat is this little, it's almost like an obi if you're familiar with that term for laser discs or CDs. This is just a little piece of paper that's holographic, of course, in nature. And this would have gone outside of the box when you're at the store. So it would have been like this or something like that. And the whole purpose behind these is to either show information that wasn't available to print on the box. For example, new low price. That's something that would have changed. And for example, there's some game reviews and some headlines and stuff here. It's just really neat. Just a nice, not required at all to have with the game. But when I saw this with that little insert and everything, and I've been looking for this game for a while, I thought, you know what? This one looks good. Wasn't too expensive. I made an offer on it on eBay, and I got it. I love Macintosh boxes. I do not have a lot of games in the box for the Mac. I probably mostly have PC stuff, which is a shame. So whenever I see a Mac stuff, a Mac game or something like that in the box, I usually tend to go for it. There is an iBook right here. We are unboxing some stuff right now. If I have some time afterwards, I'd like to show off maybe something on this iBook or something like that. But for now, we're just unboxing some things. So that's what we're doing. And yeah, so I wanted to just focus on the system requirements here, which is also fun. So this requires a Macintosh LC3 or higher. Power Macs are included. You need System 7 or higher. You need a CD-ROM drive. Double speed is recommended. 4 megabytes of memory. 2.4 megabytes of available RAM. So, yeah. You could use a joystick or a mouse or a keyboard. You need 256 colors on your graphics chipset. Hard drive required for save games. Discs 1 CD. So, that's pretty neat. I always liked the LucasArts games because I'm a Star Wars dork. But there you go. There you have it. The original Rebel Assault for the Mac. I've played this a few times. Not in ages though, so I am very curious to actually take a look at it and give it a go. Well, understanding how to use the joystick and all that fun stuff. You play these things as a kid, you get impatient and get frustrated. But yes, okay, we can look at that next. So here is something I actually picked this up at the e-waste place when I did a few videos about that. You may remember. So this was in a pile of boxes, and I just wanted the box, to be honest. I already have an iSight. I don't really need an iSight. I don't really use them. And it was just the box. I said, oh, can I have the box? And the woman opened it up and she said, oh, I think there's more in here. And so I'll show you what's inside. So a little bent on the edges and stuff. I have a box that's in a little better condition than that. But you'll see, once I bring the camera a little bit closer, sorry, it's always fun doing things live. There we go. And we'll open this, and it's actually pretty complete. So let's, there we go. We have a little booklet here that says enjoy, and I'm sure there's a CD or something with, or just booklets here. So we have an iSight user's guide. We have our 1-year limited warranty. It's a user agreement. Are there stickers? No stickers. Unless it's hidden inside the user guide. Nope. No stickers. Somebody might have taken them out. So that's what is in that side here. And if we open up behind that, we see all the mounts. Now these are the plastic mounts for the EyeSight because they were compatible with different things. You could plug them into on top of your ADC display. So this has a sticky backing. This mount is designed to sit on your PowerBook or iBook. So this little area here would sit on top of that. So if I can put that back there. And this would go on top of your iMac or your eMac. And we have a magnetic one. This is one of the newer editions, I think. Especially when you got your cinema displays or your iMac G5s without the EyeSight built in, the earlier revisions. And then we have your normal plastic little holder that would help fit into one of these. So you would put the firewire cable in one of these on the EyeSight, and then you would go into there. And this should have... Oh, there's another one here. There's the EyeSight I remember... let me take this out. The EyeSight I remember had a more complicated one than this piece of plastic. This is probably a better design because it's one solid piece. The one I had was split down the middle, and it had these little prongs, and it was just this weird thing that you sandwich together with the cable, and then it would hold the EyeSight in place. And I wonder if that's in this side. So if we open up this side, we'll see we have the camera. I'd better fill out the warranty card. If there was one, I probably would. So we have the EyeSight camera in pretty good condition. But you see these little areas to the left and the right of the firewire port. The older revision of this, or maybe it's just the one that's not in the box here, would actually plug in to those sockets on the left and the right to, I think, just give it a little more support. Maybe they found that wasn't needed, because how this cable works is you have the firewire cable here, and you just put it in like that. So the cable is there. It only goes in that way. And then you place the camera like that. Okay. And then you get one of the mounts. So whatever mount you were using, let's say we're going to put this on a PowerBook or something. Well, we would have to sort of backtrack here. What you would have to do is, before you would do this, you have to take the mount, you have to put the firewire cable, under that, and then we'll slide it into here. And then which way does this go? We'll turn that around like that. There. So we'd have the camera like this, and pretend this is like the front of the screen of the iBook or the PowerBook. You put it like that, and there you go. That's how the stand is. So pretty cool to have this with all the stands. I have... Whoop. The plastic of the firewire cable just came right off with that. I do have another one in the box, but it's missing some of the stands because I used it. And let's see if we can get this off carefully. Oh, come on. There we go. And so I didn't have all the cables and everything. So it's nice to have one with the majority of everything in here. This is going to be a pain to put back in. The cable's little plastic thing is... there we go. That's probably as good as I could get it. The little rubber that holds the bottom here is sort of like deteriorating. It's getting sticky, so it's not really as good as it used to be. That'll be all right. The resolution of this, I believe, is 640 by 480. So equivalent pretty much to the DV standard of the digital video standard definition camcorders you had at the time, or maybe a little higher. In fact, let me confirm that, because I'm sure this user guide will tell me the specs. The microphone on these are pretty good, which is another selling point. You need a G3 processor, 600 megahertz or greater, or any G4 or G3. Any G4 or G5. Jaguar version 10.2.5 and iChat AV is suggested. Yeah, for your iMac G5, there's a metallic mount. Yeah, it looks like this shows the newer cable adapter. It doesn't show the older one. Yeah, there's like an example of the stand you would use on the iMac rather. Jeez. For an iMac G4, any IDE or ATA hard drive should work fine. You could try those SD card or compact flash to IDE ATA adapters. I haven't personally tried any of those. I have one. I've been wanting to do that in an eMac I have. So hopefully you shouldn't have any issues doing that. But that would be my suggestion. Where's the specs of this thing? Usually... Actually, I shouldn't say usually. Sometimes Apple just doesn't specify anything. But most manuals do. Yeah, I guess this assumes you know the specs because you bought the darn thing. Yeah, so I believe it's 640 by 480. You could Google it, I'm sure. If I'm incorrect, you'll find out. But yeah, so that's pretty neat. Pretty nice to have the iSight complete with all the little accessories and such. I'm going to put this back in... Where'd I put the... There it is. It's a little holder. So, yes, this would be fun to use. I used to use this, one of them, not this one. I used to video chat with friends. Of course, at first you need to have somebody with a Mac, but then iChat and AOL Instant Messenger at the time eventually were updated so you could do some FaceTiming and not FaceTiming, geez, the equivalent of FaceTime over AOL Instant Messenger's protocol. It was also supported a few other ways, but that was one of the ways I used it. You could also just plug it in and use it like a Firewire camcorder. You could use it in iMovie and stuff like that. It wasn't a bad camera at all. So, all right, that's the iSight. No worries, Oliver. You're not late at all. We only just started. We're going to go on for another half hour or so. Unfortunately, I do have a pretty strict timeline today. I'm expecting people over, so I can't be in the basement just messing around with stuff. I'd love to, but the social obligations differ. So, next thing I want to show you guys, let me move this a little bit over here. Nope, this box I've already opened. Oh, I took out what's in this box. Let me go grab that. Okay, here we go. Alright, so in this box are an amalgamation of a bunch of things I've gotten over a few weeks. I don't know if that's an option. Hey, Mike! Hey, Crazy Tech Reviews. Thank you guys for joining. So, what we have next here are some PDAs, some Palm Pilots. And I love these things. I grew up with one of them. I'll tell you a bit more about that in a bit. But this is similar to one of the first Palm Pilots I ever had. This is a Palm 3E. I believe it's an 8 megahertz Motorola processor. But actually, this one right here, the Palm 3E Special Edition, has a clear case. It's really neat. You can ignore the Velcro on the back. This was the very first Palm Pilot I ever had. I was a dork, so when I was a kid, I asked for one for my birthday or whatever. And I got one, and it was this. And this is a fantastic little PDA. I love this thing. The problem was, when I had this when I was a kid, something happened to it where it bricked itself. And by I mean brick itself, I mean it was just toast. The firmware or something had a bug in it, and it just would not turn on. It would not reset. It would not do anything. And so what ended up happening was I returned this under warranty, and I got a Palm Pilot in return, very similar looking to this. I actually think it was the same 3E model, because they made the non-special edition ones that were gray. Now, the problem was, as you could see, it's not nearly as pretty. This is just a boring gray one. This was clear and cool looking. You could see the chips inside, and it was like, oh man. Yeah, this is far more boring. So on my eBay watch list for probably the good amount of a year has been one of these. And I saw one came up in the box, and I didn't even notice that it came up. I actually saw it afterwards. And I was sort of upset because it came and went. It was sealed in the box, brand new, sealed in the box. And it went for about $75 or so. And I was a little upset because I want one of these to play around with. I want to do a video about them. And I think they're really cool. And the box is cool and everything. But I did find this one. And so I was happy to find this one. And of course, just like anything on eBay, once you find one of them and you buy it, you're going to find another one. So as soon as I purchased this one, I found another one, which I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, me, dork as a kid, nah, I couldn't be. Yeah, so there's a lot of these, and I do have quite a lot of different Palm Pilots, and I basically accumulating a lot to show off in some videos, because there's some really neat ones that have extra keyboards and modems and GPS adapters and all sorts of stuff I'd love to show on. Yeah, eBay is very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. So yeah, this was I was one of the only kids at the PDA in my high school. There was a few others. I was in good company with dorky kids. Let's just say that. So that's the Palm 3E Special Edition. This is the Palm 3E Standard Edition. And here is one I never had growing up. And it's a little heavier too. This is a Palm 3C. And as the name would suggest, this actually has a color screen. I believe it was the first of the Palm 3 series, or the Palm series, to have a color screen. And these are pretty neat. This is heavier, so it has a rechargeable battery, which is dead. So I need to get a rechargeable battery. They're about $15 or so to replace the battery that's inside of this, which would be nice to play around with, because it has a color screen. Be the first PDA with a color screen. Be fun to look at. I'm sure others have done videos about it, but be nice to play around with. Yeah, so this is in pretty neat condition. It's not the best one, but you know, a lot of these are used. They're from schools or businesses or whatever. I believe these two work, because I did put batteries in these two, so these do power on. This one, since it has a rechargeable battery, I guess if I let it sit in the dock, maybe it would turn on, because these all have a docking connector on the bottom. The Palm 3 series is all pretty universal. So this one actually has a little door and reveals the dock connector on the bottom. So these all should work okay.
I didn't get that. No. Could you try?
No. Siri, for some reason, thought that I was talking to her. And I was not, obviously. Yeah, you know what, Brian? These, and I've said this on a previous stream, these devices, for whatever reason on eBay, and one of the reasons is they're obsolete and probably nobody wants them, they are pretty dirt cheap. This one, which I was searching for so long, it was like $8 shipped, and the story behind this was it was actually listed as an auction with a buy it now or best offer option. I went to make a best offer on it of $15, and then somebody bid $7, which was like the asking opening bid. And of course, when you do that, the best offers are automatically declined. So I'm like, oh, great. And then another person bid, and it was like $8. But I think I bid like $9.95. I think my reserve was like $20 or $30, and I got it. So it's like, in the end, it worked out fine. But yeah, yeah, they could be pretty darn cheap. This one I think I paid $15 for, but this is more of the uncommon ones. This I paid $10 for. This was actually pictured in the auction with this, because I already have one of these. I don't need one. But this was pictured with the clear case. But the guy was brand new to eBay, was obviously using a stock photo, ignored my questions when I was purchasing it, before I purchased it, and all this stuff, and he sent me this one. And so I actually have been trying to return this, but the guy hasn't been responding to my messages. He refunded me. I no longer want this, but, I mean, if you're not going to respond to me, what am I going to do? So, that's another part of my collection, I guess. Oh, nice. I'm glad. I'm glad I'm not the only nerd who took Palm Pilots to did I have that in middle school? Yeah, I think I took it to middle school, and then I had a Palm Trio in high school, which was color and fancy. I felt very fancy. Ah, M505 with the keyboard adapter. Look at you, Brian. Being all fancy. Yeah, if these clamshell iBooks ever get that cheap, that'll be nice. Oh, nice, Brian. Well, you come over, we'll have to beam each other memos or something like that. That'll be cool. Yeah, the Palm Pilots always had like a Star Trek vibe to it. I wasn't into Star Trek when I was in you know, when I had these things, but you know, looking back, it totally reminds me of that. Yeah, we're all fancy with our Palm Pilots these days. I love it. Okay, so those are the Palms that I have that have already been unboxed. Now, well, actually, there's one more. So I was talking to you just before. I said I had a Palm Treo, or Treo. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm terrible at these things, as you could probably tell. It's either a Treo or a Trio. I've heard it pronounced both ways, so I don't know. But when I was going into high school, I had trouble keeping my notes together and taking notes. So what I did was I saved up money and I got a Palm Treo 90. So this is a Palm Pilot that's not made by Palm. This is made by a company called Handspring. And for a while they also made Palm compatible devices. The biggest change on this is there's a keyboard built in. So I actually have my original one, but the screen is busted. So it was actually cheaper to just buy a brand new, used, old stock one rather, than to buy the screen and replace it. So this is a pretty neat one. I think it has a charge. It was charging most of the day. There we go. Nice, bright, colorful screen. Nice and backlit. Now they made a cell phone version of this with cellular connectivity. For whatever reason, those are stupid expensive. I don't know if it's because it's a world phone or what. This has no cell phone functionality at all. I think that I don't even think this has Bluetooth in it. How do I go home here? There. I don't think this has Bluetooth in it. This is just simply, run-of-the-mill Palm Pilot. Has an SD card slot. I believe this supports SD and MMC. So that's multimedia card for those of you kids who don't know what MMC is. Before SD cards got big, MMC was where it was. And so it has your little stylus holder in the back. I'm going to do a video on these. I think they're really neat. But what I used to do was I would go to MemoPad here, and I would use this keyboard, and I would just type up all my notes in class. Science class, English class, whatever. I would say, this is a note about class or whatever, and there you go. I mean, my fingers are larger than they were back in the day, but this was pretty comfortable to type on, and I got pretty quick with this. Now, the best thing about this was we had some tests in school that we could use our notes. So what most Palm Pilots have is the ability to use the infrared port on the back to beam information. And so this was a way for me to organize all my notes, and since this had a beam capability and the printers in our school had the IR ports on it, I was actually able to download some shareware and beam my notes to a printer and just have them print out. So I had all my notes with me, and then I had a bunch of kids who were leeches who were like, "Oh, could you just print out your notes for me?" And these were like kids that I really didn't hang out with and I wasn't really friendly with, but the types of kids you would think they would beat you up if you said no, so I would usually oblige or I'd make up some excuse. But yeah, so I would print out my notes and stuff like that, and that was always neat. So I was quite fond of this little Palm Treo 90, and so when I found one for a reasonable price, I picked it up. It did come with a charger, which is good because this has a different port than the Palm 3. Hey Dana, welcome to the party. Exactly, damn cheater kids. And yeah, I love this little guy. It's a lot of fun. A few of my other friends by high school had Palm Pilots, so I wasn't the only dork with one. But I think mine was one of the first color ones, so I was excited. And let's see what else we got here. Mine came with a quick reference guide and a CD. So it's a protective cover, talks about all this stuff. So pretty cool. Yes, those were the days indeed. Hello, Zombie Geek 33. Hello, Taj. And this also came with, this is like kind of a bonus item, because I don't think it was really included with it, but this is basically, well, it's basically this weird like data backup type thing. I guess it was just a blank memory card. It says it's Palm OS and Windows compatible, so that tells me it was just like a blank card, but it's in this big case that looks like an SD card, which is amusing. And in this giant case is just this. That's all this is. Oh no, that's pretty late in the Netherlands. But there are two things in here. There's a Palm Pack for games, and then this backup card. So I'm not going to play around with this too much today. Like I said, I'll do a video about that stuff. In fact, I could put this book in there. No, that won't fit. But yeah, so that's some cool Palm stuff that I've been playing around with. And fun time. So that'll be a trip down memory lane when I keep playing with this. This case doesn't actually fit this particular model. The guy just included it with it. This thing in the middle is supposed to go where the stylus goes, but I believe this was for like the later Palm series, so it does not fit this one, but it will keep it protected as long as I don't drop the poor thing. So I'm going to put it over here. Yeah, I mean, just like your SD card, very familiar to, you know, Nintendo cartridges, little memory sticks and stuff like that. Yeah, so, alright, we're going to continue. We have 2 more boxes to open. And then we're going to have to wrap up in about 20 minutes, unfortunately. Maybe a minute or two after, but probably about 20 minutes. Where's my phone, actually? Let me make sure there's nobody waiting for me to respond to them. Because, like I said, I have a pretty strict schedule. Alright, no worries. Okay, so, next box here. So, remember I was saying that when I bought that clear Palm Pilot here, right afterwards I saw another one on eBay? Well, this is the other one I saw. Which of course had the original box. Now this is the box I remember, because look at this you know, this like pinstripe, almost like the early versions of OS X. Look at that, this box is just beautiful. Just look at that. It's so cool. I just love this box. I remember finding my old one when I was cleaning out my old room, and it was destroyed. I had to throw it out. There was no sense in keeping it. But this is in pretty good condition. There was something I wanted to read off on here. Where is it here? Yeah, so here's some of the things that it talks about. You know, it's compatible with mail, so you have email support. Of course, that's everything is not wireless, of course. You'd have to sync it. And, you know, compatibility with AOL Mail, Lotus Notes, Netscape Communicator Mail, POP3, or IMAP Internet Service providers. So there you go. It is a little bit of textured. You feel sort of like a ribbing or you know, little bumps, which is interesting. So, yeah, these boxes are pretty cool. I think the Palm 3 non-special edition ones came in a very similar box. So the only difference between the Palm devices were actually the case of the device itself. I will take your word for it, Dana. Yeah, it is quite beautiful. I do like doing that. Yeah, it's daylight out. I know, this is insane. I'm inside. This is crazy. But yeah, so I'm gonna open this up and we're just gonna see some of the goodies that are in here. I'm not gonna go too crazy with this. Like I said, we have some limited time here. Here we go. The orange foam inside is a classy touch. So we have our collection of booklets here. We have a getting started book. We have a register book. Here we go. Palm 3E Special Edition Organizer. A little hard to read that there, but that's what this one was called. This is actually sealed. You can see the plastic on this. This is the organizer handbook and an accessory catalog for the Palm 3 and the Palm 7 series. So, pretty neat. Oh, we got our graffiti stickers here. So these stickers can be put in a convenient location to help you with writing. Yeah, so the way that these Palm Pilots worked is you took the stylus. I'm gonna use the one that's out the box here, and you were writing in this area here. And when you were writing, that was transcribed, and you were writing in basically these little shorthand symbols, which roughly look like the letter that you were trying to do. Let's see if this will want to focus here. Maybe. Anyway, this language was called graffiti. And so if you ever see something that's referred to as graffiti, it's talking about these little characters that you would write. Oh, come on. Just focus here. Come on. Come on. Maybe. I think it's the best we're going to get. And yeah, there we go. Oh, it wanted to for a second. But essentially, this is just your shorthand for writing the characters on the screen. So this sticker intact is pretty cool because most of the people just took it out and immediately put it on either the back, or this had a plastic visor that went over. They would put it on that also. So this one's in pretty good condition. In fact, you have a bunch of things that are pretty much sealed. So the dock there in the center looks like it's sealed. You have this serial adapter here that goes from a 25 pin to a 9-pin serial. So you have that in there. And of course, if you were a Mac user, you needed a separate adapter. Do I have one around here? Well, I don't have one right here, but it's essentially a DB9 to Apple serial port adapter. Just a very simple little gray adapter. It was about this long. It came in a Mac box branded for Palm and stuff like that. And it was just designed to give you connectivity from this dock onto the computer. That's all it did. It was a dumb device. It didn't need power or anything like that. And it came with some software too. Hello, Tech and Music. Welcome to the stream. And yeah, and then we have the device itself. So this is actually in much better condition than the other one I got off eBay. So I'm happy to have this too. It still has a little sticker with the serial number on it, and it still has, the little serial number, whatever you want to call it, badge. I'm going to be very careful with this because this probably has not really been used. Because if I open this up here, you'll see that the plastic is still on the screen. Now, I think that this might have been used at one point, but the plastic is still on the screen. And I just love the look of this thing. It's just really cool. I mean, for nothing else than the clear plastic. Just that late 90s, early 2000s look. I just love this thing. So I'm very happy I found this. It's been a while since I was searching for one. I've seen some of them that were just out of my price range or just really beat up. And so I'm very pleased to have that. In fact, here's the one I'm going to be playing around with more without worrying about damaging it. I'm going to try and clean up the screen and get this Velcro off the back. So I'm going to put that actually in here. Keep that safe. And we'll put all the books back in here. But I know a few of you were saying you had Palm Pilots growing up, which is cool because I thought I was the only dork who wanted one. In fact, I'll tell you a story. Once I could just go like this or this. I guess just like that. Oops, let me rearrange this. I think I actually have it over here. Let me see if I can grab it. Oh, that's a different one. Here's actually another Palm Pilot. I gotta tell you, I have tons of these things. This is a Palm TX. This is a later model. Has a different connector on the bottom. I got this locally at a thrift store. They actually had like 3 of them in a stack. Yeah, these are really neat. I love these things. Oh, a bunch of comments here. Let me read through these. Hold on. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, some of the Mac LC3s were cheaper than PCs when they were bundled. Yep. Yeah, you know what? You could still use these as like universal remotes because they have the infrared port. You could still use them for taking notes and stuff, but their capacity is limited. Basically, anything your cell phone could do, these things could do. Well, as far as organization goes, rather. What probably would have made more sense to say is whatever you could do on this, your cell phone could do better. There you go. But they're pretty neat. I mean, that's why I think they could be found so cheaply. There's not really a purpose for them anymore. They're kind of neat. There's keyboard adapters, camera adapters, projector adapters, all sorts of weird things that they tried to make use of these things. This one has a headphone jack so you can listen to music on it, which is pretty neat. But yeah, some of them are a bit dated. Oh, so what we just unboxed was a Palm 3 special edition. So that's what was in this box here. And yep, I'm not going to play around with it really much right on camera here, but I just wanted to unbox it. Just following up here. Ah, okay. Brian was spoiled. He had access to them when he was young. Oh, nice. Dana has one somewhere. Yeah, the iPhone killed a lot of things. Okay, Brian has an M505, a few 5125s, tungsten E2, a trio palm visor. Oh, I'm sorry, Visor Pro. I think I have a Visor Pro. And there's one of them floating around here. One with a barcode scanner on it that I showed off in my Macintosh Plus video. That was pretty cool. I think I have a tungsten T2 or E2 or one of those. Something like that. That was the one I used after the Treo for a while. Yeah, and a lot of people from Apple and other companies did move to Palm. Yep. Yeah, the e-mates are actually they're actually not too hard to find. I would try looking for one on eBay. I saw one not long ago for like $100. Not too bad. Not the worst you could do for it. Yep. And Apple bought some of the, well, licensed some of the WebOS patents for some of the earlier versions of iOS, because the functionality where you double tap on an app and you swipe it up, that's from WebOS. So, yeah. Let's see. Well, the eMate is completely different than the iBook. In fact, I have an iBook here, and at the end of the stream, in about 10 minutes, I'll bring out the eMate, and we'll look at that. But last box here I want to show before we forget. Put our Palm Pilots to the side here. Let me grab a drink of water because I've been talking for like an hour. Yes, the first ARM laptop. Okay, so here's a box with a bunch of goodies. And so this is one of those dangerous things where you're on eBay and you find like an old Apple item and the price is pretty good. And then you think that very dangerous thought, well, what else does this guy have? So I ended up finding one item, and I ended up buying a bunch of them because there was a bunch of other cool things this guy had. Some of it was out of my price range. He had a power CD that was way too expensive. I wasn't going to pay $400 for a power CD. That's this thing that I have here that is in various states of trying to get working again. This is basically a SCSI CD-ROM drive slash audio CD player slash photo CD player. So pretty cool device. I bought that I think sometime last year. Still trying to get it to work properly. Are old Apple computers before 2000 collectible? Yes, they are. I would say probably more collectible than some of the ones after the year 2000. Yes. And so, yeah, so I went and I bought something on eBay. And before I completed that transaction, the guy had a bunch of other things listed in there. So let me find. So I actually didn't unpack this. It's packed very well. Let me find what I bought first. Yeah, here we go. He actually sealed them and everything. That's. Could probably reuse one of these paddings. While I unbox this, I did do a video recently. I've released it. You probably saw it, but for those of you who might have not, I did a video comparing the sound effects on the macOS Big Sur beta, the macOS version 11 beta. That still is hard to say. I always want to say OS 10. And I compared the system sound effects in that beta release to the old ones, because they completely redid all the sounds. So if you haven't caught that, please check that out. Got my PowerPoint CD, 430. Yeah, give it a try. I'd be interested to hear if that works. Maybe that's a problem with mine. Who knows? Alright, let's get the CDs out of here. So, the first thing I saw on this guy's store was he had a set of Super Macintosh clone system restore discs for $5. So it's a pretty good deal. We had the application disc, and we had the OS disc. And I think these versions are slightly different than the ones that I saw on Macintosh Garden. So, of course, I'm going to image these, I'm going to back them up and everything. But I actually did not have the original CD for my Super Mac. And although this is for the C500 series, and mine is not that identical model, mine is an Apis 2000, which is a rebranding of it for the Asia and Europe markets, this CD should work on mine. So, that'll be nice to play around with. And then there's a system, I'm sorry, this is the system software disc here. And then we have an application disc. So this has the OS on it, and then this has like ClarisWorks and Acrobat and stuff like that. So really cool that I found these. I did not have the original discs for $5. That was a no-brainer. And that is what ran me down the rabbit hole, being like, huh, what else does that guy have? So very, very dangerous. The other disc that he had was an early version, a very early version of Mac OS 10. So this is, I believe, 1.0, I'm sorry, 10.0.3. So I don't think I actually had this version. I think the first version of OS 10 I bought was 10.1. And I think that's I'm pretty sure that was the box I have. Yeah, so this disc is actually floating around in here. There we go. Yeah, so nice to have that as part of the collection. Just also because, sometimes when you download older versions of the OS online or whatever, the disk images just don't work or they weren't ripped properly or whatever. So it's nice to have a physical copy where I know that works and I can always make an image out of it if possible. So these 3 CDs were a very cool pickup. And that led me to the next few items here. These are all sealed. You didn't have to do that. Probably would have been much easier to open. Getting some ASMR of me opening this package. Ah. Well, this Duck brand packaging is pretty good. Sorry if that's giving anybody a headache. Oh boy. Ah. There we go. So in here, we have a very silly little pointing device. It's not too silly, I guess, but it's a Kensington Orbit trackball. I do have a little razor blade, but what's the fun in that? But anyway, this is a Kensington Orbit. It's a trackball mouse. It's a USB one. Obviously, it has like the Bondi blue coloring here. Ball works pretty well. I never owned one of these. I always had the Kensington ones. They're pretty neat. I really was not intending to buy this. It was $10. I was paying him to ship the CDs and some other items to me anyway, so I'm like, you know what? I'll put it in a video or something. So now it's in a video. My excuse to buy it is fulfilled. That's what the back of it looks like. When the light is shining through it, it actually lights up the back, kind of. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, this is pretty neat. You know what? I actually use a trackball when I'm streaming. Unfortunately, this has been a pain in the butt, and this has not been working. I think it's the receiver, because I put a brand new battery in it. This is a Logitech M570. I've had this for about, jeez, I want to say like 2014 or before that. It's worked fine. I usually use it when I have cramped space, like down here, and it works fine. But unfortunately, this little USB receiver thing just decided to stop working. So I know I could get another one. I have another one somewhere, so I want to see if it's the receiver or the mouse. But if you've ever seen my old video, and it's an old one, it's an old video, I do a video about weird Macintosh mice. And search my YouTube channel if you haven't seen that one already, because that would have been featured if I had that in there. Yes, eBay is very dangerous. Yeah, I'm very surprised that the Logitech one didn't want to. I mean, maybe it's just a simple thing, but I don't know. This ball moves pretty well. Let me see if I can take it out. Look at the mechanism there. Ah. I'm gonna end up dropping it, so maybe I'll just leave it in there. Usually, if they're stiff, you just gotta make sure there's no dust around the rollers and sensors and stuff. But. Okay. Next in here, what else do I get? Ah. Okay, this is going to be a little trickier to open because the plastic sticky sealing stuff has actually got itself onto the bubble wrap that was used inside. So this is gonna be a pain to cut through. I'm just gonna have to rip this off, I think. Ah! It's a good way to probably dull my scalpels. I have to order new ones anyway, but all right. So these are keyboards. These are old PowerBook keyboards. So these I can't undo this. This is like all it's all plastic together. This is a keyboard for, I believe, a 520 series, PowerBook 500 series, and then there's one for a 1400 series. Now, the reason I got the keyboards is A, they were very affordable, and B, there's not every day you see keyboards like this. This find of keyboards reminds me of like going on eBay in the early 2000s, and they were dirt cheap. So these were, I think, like $5 or $10 each. So I figured, might as well, I could use them for parts. But these actually should work fine, so these could be a replacement keyboard. Because some of those machines I have are not in good condition. The keys have fallen off or whatever. So this one has this has the Apple logo and the Command logo on it, and the Option key just says Option on it. So these are very early on, but yeah, neat to have. Always good to have spare parts, especially you can't really get them these days anymore. And we have 2 more items here. So right now, Macintosh Librarian, what I am doing is, first off, I hoard parts because I have a mental problem and I hoard things. No. Don't mean to offend anyone. I'm just kidding. No, I sometimes just see a part and I'm like, I have to have that, and I buy spare parts. Most of the time, it's for a machine I know I'm going to repair at some point. Most of the time, I know I found a part that's broken and I'd like to have a part that's working. I do repair some things for people once in a while. I've had some boards shipped to me that I've recapped and stuff like that. Other times I know it's just a good deal on something, even if I don't have the machine. If I'm going to get the machine at a later date, I may choose to get it. So, and with the collection of Macs I have, it's more often than not I could use the part. So if I see a good deal on it, I usually grab it if I don't have it in my collection, just for the heck of it. And I'm talking about like $5-10 worth of stuff, nothing crazy. But yeah, so I do have a lot of machines that are in need of repair, especially compact Macs. Once I get those turned around, I am not going to be keeping all of them. I have no space to keep all of them that I have. They're just a ridiculous amount of compact Macs. There's over 20 of them at this point. So yeah. My favorite PowerPC Mac. If you check on the YouTube description, there's going to be a link to an FAQs thing that's answered in there. There's a long laundry list of Macintoshes that I like. There you go. I'll take some. Yeah, well, when they're all repaired, I'll be sharing information of how you can get your hands on one if you really want to. But in here is a bit of an oddity. So this is, I'll open this up here. So this is a Super Mac video card cable. And so we have DB15 on this side, and we have RGB on this side. And so I believe this was for some of their higher end monitors that actually had the BNC connectors on the back. And I agree with you, Trina, on that one. So, you know, this is just made for those special monitors. I do have one non-Super Mac branded monitor that does have these connectors on the back. So for $5, I picked up this cable. He had an eMachines one as well. This is a Super Mac branded one. I figure why not. So if I have success with that, cool. If not, maybe I can use this cable for something else in the future. But again, for $5, it was worth the gamble just to have it in the collection in case I ever come across a monitor that is missing the cable and stuff like that. But yeah, after years of collecting this stuff, good to have spares of items like that. Especially the keyboards. Because about 15, maybe I'd say about 15 years ago or so is the time point. A lot of this stuff is just like, it was nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted anything to do with Apple that wasn't brand new. All this vintage stuff, nobody cared for it. I got a Quadra 840 AV for $5 at a flea market. I got a PowerBook G3 screen for like $10. Like, nobody wanted this stuff at all. So it's just like, it's mind-boggling to me that some of this stuff just is so expensive these days. So when I see a good deal, I usually jump on it. No, you're not hoarding. You're upcycling. You're preventing this stuff from becoming e-waste. You're doing a very good thing. Just keep repeating that to yourself. Okay, last item up here. This is a pretty neat item. Nothing too fancy, but happy to have it in my collection. I know I'm running out of time here, so I'll just open this up. I do have some CPU upgrades. Nothing of the fancier ones. Nothing huge. Nothing over a gigahertz. I think my fastest is a G4 400 megahertz, and all the G3 ones I have are like 200 megahertz. I got them like 15 years ago. They were dirt cheap. I don't have any fancy ones really. Here we have, it's a little beat up, but it's an Apple serial cable, still in the original packaging, which I think is pretty cool. Look at that. So this is about 1993, if I had to guess. And so we have a little serial cable there. I just got it to keep in the packaging. I mean, it was like $5 or something like that. I love the graphic on the back. It's a little beat up, but yep, copyright 1993. So you see a graphic with a Macintosh and a printer on the back, and your standard port here. So I'm doing a video on Apple Talk and Local Talk, and of course some of them use these cables. So it'll be cool to have one of these cables that I could refer to that's just not a loose cable. You know, very, very interesting. That has, like, this could have been like on a shelf. So when I went to computer stores, they didn't have a lot of Apple stuff, but I can imagine. Looks like there's mold here, or paint, or glue, or something. I can imagine these were hanging on shelves and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. By the time I went to computer stores, I don't think they had some of this stuff, at least the Apple stuff. It was always like CompUSA, they had third-party stuff. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think, let me clean up here. Move this to the side. Yeah, I think that's all I really had to show. Since we're getting to the end here. Oh, all right. Now I got a little bit of an error that you may get some buffering things. Sorry, I'll wait for this to work its way through. Sometimes my internet connection is usually like pretty good, and sometimes I'm wired here. There's no Wi-Fi or anything, but sometimes it just goes to crap. So I'll give that a second to figure itself out. I'm gonna grab something off screen. One second. Okay, everything's back to normal? Is that good? Okay, because I got this little ominous warning that says YouTube is not receiving enough video data, and now it says it's excellent again. So who knows? Oh, cool! Thank you, Alex. That's hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Yes, that's exactly what I went to get. So here's the eMate, the eMate 300. I wish there was more of these. The prototypes that I've seen of orange ones and purple ones and different colors are so cool. This is just, your standard eMate. Mine is not in the best condition. The infrared window plastic is missing, but pretty neat device. I like these little things. So we were talking about an iBook before, and one of you mentioned that the eMate looks very similar. So let's do a little comparison here. Oh, thank you, Trina. I'm glad that worked out for you. Just gonna move the little Palm Pilot box over here. And I'm running behind, so I'll try and do this as quickly as possible without cheapening it. So, yeah, I see there's once in a while some will come up on eBay. The thing to note is most of them had rechargeable batteries, but you could replace those fairly easily. And if you are lucky enough and tech savvy enough, you could make your own or find your own power adapter that will work with it. But here is the eMate. It is a beautiful little device. It is much smaller than an iBook. So here's the eMate here. And here's the iBook here. The iBook weighs a little bit more. Not too much, but a little bit more. Obviously, they both have handles, which is really cool. Sorry, we're not really centered here. There we go. The eMate, rather. It's a very nice design. Very sturdy. Would obviously survive a classroom pretty well. And I don't know if mine still has juice in its battery. No, don't think so. There's an area here where you can put your stylus. Mine is not there at the moment. Here are little sliders for brightness and contrast for your grayscale screen here. And you have a keyboard, which is nice. You have notches here and here to put your stylus in, if you wanted to. On the side here, you have a port for your power. And what's interesting here is you have a standard Apple serial port. And then you have the much newer Newton 2000, Newton 2100 serial port. So whatever peripheral you had, this was compatible with both of them, which is nice. So this was used in schools as an educational tool for writing notes, typing, maybe using some productivity type applications. There weren't many games released for this. There were some things here and there, but unfortunately, with the release of the Newton devices, when Steve Jobs returned to Apple, the Newton was not his idea. He did not have fond thoughts of it, and they axed it. And just as the Newton was getting to be, a lovely device, Apple killed it. And there's an amazing documentary, which I'm going to find a link for, because it's actually streaming on a few places, I believe. Let me find my browser here. I'm having issues with my keyboard and mouse, so bear with me here. The film is called Love Notes to Newton. Let me find it here. Here we go. It's by a company called Muse Fuel Media. A fantastic documentary, an absolute fantastic documentary. I would suggest a double feature, if I may. A double feature of this film, Love Notes to Newton, and then a documentary that's very similar called General Magic. And I say they're similar because they're talking about similar time frames. So the Newton here, the eMate and the Newton series are covered in that Love Notes to Newton documentary. And then there's the General Magic documentary. And Apple was involved in both projects. I'll let you watch the films. They're reasonably available online. And let me see if I could find a link to that. I think it's on Hulu or Netflix, or it's on one of those. If you Google General Magic, let me find their website. Here we go. GeneralMagicTheMovie.com is their website. Oops. Let me put that back in. There we go. So, yeah, that is honestly fantastic documentaries. If you're like me, and you love seeing prototypes of this stuff, see the people that worked on it, behind the scenes photos, stories, those documentaries have it all. Love Notes to Newton is fantastic. I've met with some of the people that worked on the film. They are wonderful, awesome people. If you buy the digital copy of Love Notes to Newton, you get a bunch of behind the scenes extras, which is really cool. So be very sure to look at that. I highly, highly recommend. I cannot praise them enough. There's actually a Newton emulator called Einstein that you could run, I think, on Android and iOS devices. It's called Einstein. It's a Newton emulator. Look it up if you're interested in that stuff. There's a whole Slack channel and stuff like that. Yeah, but lovely, lovely devices. So here's the eMate. Here's the iBook. Obviously, the iBook has a full color screen. The eMate is smaller in comparison to it. But you have their similarities. So, I'm just reading some of the comments here. Yes. Okay, so yeah, that's the eMate. It's pretty neat. I need to find my power adapter for it. It's over there. I just have to go grab it. I won't be doing that and playing this in this stream because I'm 15 minutes over and I gotta run actually. But you asked what this is. This is behind me here, and I'm still working on a video for it. I just don't know when I'm gonna be able to release it. This is a lamp. This is a very ugly lamp. And basically, I put a computer screen in here. There's a little LCD composite video screen, and there's a wire running out of the back. I could plug any composite video source, standard definition source into it. This was an ugly lamp. It had a crack in the back of it, so I cut this out, and I just happened to have an old 6-inch LCD panel, and I put it in there. I did a live stream a few weeks ago where I did talk more about that. I did shoot footage while I was constructing it, so I will be making a video on it. But it's just a silly little thing I did. Can't even speak. But I had a lot of fun with it. So that's what this monstrosity is. It's an ugly lamp, but I like it. Sometimes I'll put an After Dark screensaver on it. Probably plug a Raspberry Pi into it or something. So that's something I'm going to be tinkering with it. But it gives off nice light. So there you go. And yes, I'm glad for the movie recommendations to give those out. The fantastic films. Really, really suggest that you go watch them. And with that, I think I'm going to have to wrap it up because I am running 17 minutes late. I should have been done 17 minutes ago. So I hope that you enjoyed this stream. A reminder to everybody, tomorrow morning, depending on your time zone, tomorrow morning, July 5th, I will be on the Retro Maccast, and I'm going to paste a link again into the chat. And so that's the Retro Maccast is a podcast that episode 532, I believe, is the one I'm going to be premiering on. And so I'll be on there. They run a great show. They do it live on YouTube. You'll see a video of me. So if you didn't get enough about me today, you check me out tomorrow on the Retro Maccast. I'll be tweeting out the link and all that stuff. But the link is in there for you to grab it. But as always, I appreciate everybody's likes, your subscribing, your comments, all that good stuff. If you're a patron, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it. And that's about it for now. So I appreciate you tuning in to watch me unbox some stuff. We'll be going over more of this stuff in some more detail in some future live streams where I have some more time. Maybe not 8 hours time, but some more time. But I hope if you have today off or you're just celebrating the holiday in the U.S. or whatever, you have a safe and happy holiday. And I'll see you guys later. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care and stay safe.